Alright, so to be honest, I was originally going to call this video why most mainstream health and lifestyle practices are a joke and largely ineffective. And I was thinking about this the other day and really observing people's conversations, observing motivations, and really looking at cultural programs at large. And one of the main things that stood out, one of the main sort of stumbling blocks or one of the main spells or poison arrows is this idea of moderation. This idea that, well, everything is okay, but just in moderation. You know, you can eat garbage food that's not even food, but it's okay because it's in moderation. You know, you can poison yourself through your lifestyle or through choices you make, but it's okay because you just do it in moderation. The problem with that is, number one, it's usually just an excuse and a justification for mediocrity, for complacency, for apathy. Number two, it's oftentimes a justification for not really making any changes. So you might say, oh, well, I want to be healthier, so I'm going to use moderation for the junk food that I eat. It's like, well, how about you just don't eat garbage? How about just eat real foods? Or how about take what you have that you like that might not be the best thing and upgrade it? Meaning if you are addicted to sugar, maybe switch to natural plant-based sugars that aren't so processed and actually have more nutrients. And then you step by step and gradually upgrade, rather than just saying stuck in this box and saying, well, it's okay because I'm being moderate, I'm using moderation. When in reality, no one defines moderation. It's kind of a ghost phantom term that people just throw around, and it's not really clear and doesn't really help or serve anyone. And again, usually it's an excuse for complacency, it's an excuse for mediocrity, an excuse for apathy, and a justification for, in some way, shape, or form, constraining or even harming or poisoning ourselves on some level. And not only is that a real issue that needs to be looked at, but as a result of that, a person who has this mindset is very susceptible to looking at other people and judging them as, oh, well, you know, they're extreme. You know, they do herbs and supplements, and they do this diet thing, and they do this water thing, and they do this exercise. They're so extreme. And then they sort of have this sort of judging, sort of condescending, constraining energy about it. And then they'll say, well, why would you do that? You know, you shouldn't do that. You know, it's so extreme. Why would you want to do anything like that? When in reality, I think if we were to look at history, I think if we were to study people who have created things, people who have innovated things, people who have inspired others, what we'll find is most of the time everyone else around them is going to be like, that's really extreme. Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. You shouldn't do that. You should do this. You should follow this path. You know, you shouldn't follow your dreams. You need to go to school because you're this age and you need to get married. You need to have kids. You need to go to work. You need to go to church. And you need to just put your dreams aside because that's extreme, that's silly, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards, the whole story. So that's kind of the mainstream sort of approach as we can understand in this conversation. But to me, it's sort of backwards, because the mainstream understanding calls people who are inspired and committed and focused and driven, calls them extreme. But to me, it's extreme to be uninspired. It's extreme to be passionless, to live a mediocre, unfulfilling, unhappy life that doesn't satisfy you. That's someone else's story or someone else's dreams or someone else's path. To me, that's really extreme. To me, it's really extreme to justify and habitually constrain or hinder or impede yourself. To me, it's extreme to squash your dreams because of what someone else thinks or what you think someone else thinks. To me, those are all very extreme actions that people take on a regular basis. And it's kind of this idea also about stress. You know, people think, oh, stress is such a bad thing. You don't need stress. Actually, you need stress. Stress is an important, essential thing. But the problem is people invest stress in all of the wrong places, in places that don't matter, in places that don't really do anything. You should stress yourself out on a regular basis if you want to grow as a person, whether it's your exercise or your movement patterns, or psychologically putting yourself in situations that cause you to grow, creatively causing yourself to grow further, and all down the line. Likewise, we all have tendencies to go to extremes, to be obsessive, to be compulsive, to all these different things that we have because we have a human mind. So it's extreme to invest that in things that don't serve us, in things that aren't even fulfilling, when in reality we could just take this and redirect it in things that actually are helpful, things that fill us with passion, that fill us with inspiration, that make us happy, that make us excited, and make us actually want to get out of bed, and actually make us naturally want better things because we're inspired, we're living on a natural high, we're living passion, we're living a higher vision. We're excited about life, we're happy, we're optimistic, naturally, because we're not fighting ourselves with all this BS programming and sort of just dwindling ourselves down for this false idea of moderation. Hopefully that's been helpful. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll talk to you soon.